Last, let's continue our discussion on partnership. So we're done with partnership formation, which is the first stage. Second stage, partnership operation. And today, third stage naman tayo, partnership dissolution. Okay? Partnership dissolution. Ayan. So class, when you say partnership dissolution, by definition, this happens whenever there's a change in interest in the partnership. Sir, what do you mean by change in interest? Class, it means there is either an addition or reduction in the number of partners. Okay? So it's either natagdagan or nabawasan yung number of partners. You call it dissolution. There's a dissolution whenever there's an admission of a new partner or withdrawal or retirement of an existing partner. Okay? So class, take note, pag sinabing dissolution, nag-ooperate pa rin yung partnership. Hindi ibig sabihin na dissolve, hindi ibig sabihin na nag-stop na yung operations. Pag nag-stop yung operations, ang term na ginagamit natin doon is liquidation or liquidated, which is the last stage in the life of a partnership. Okay? So, mag-start muna tayo class with admission. Ayan. So, number one, meron kang dissolution if meron tayong admission of a new partner. So class, tandaan mo lang to for admission. It can be either a purchase of interest or investment in partnership. Dalawa lang yan, class. Okay, doon muna tayo sa purchase of interest. Sir, what do you mean by purchase of interest? Actually, class, ang ibig sabihin yan, this is a private or personal transaction. Class, naalala mo yung sa partnership formation, kapag nagkaroon ng settlement and then the settlement is outside of the partnership, yun yun. Ito yung equivalent nun. Okay, so yung concept, class, ng partnership dissolution is similar sa concept ng partnership formation. So remember that. So it's, when you say purchase of interest, there's a private or personal transaction, and this transaction is outside of the partnership. And we learn sa formation, kapag outside of the partnership siya, this transaction will not be recorded in the books of the partnership. Okay, so let me expound. Magbigay tayo ng example. For example, class, meron tayong existing partnership, AB partnership. Right? And then, si partner C, okay, C buys the interest of B. Okay? So si C, bagong partner siya, in-admit siya, new partner, bibili niya yung interest ni B, partner B. Okay? So ang tawag natin doon is purchase of interest. Now, yung babayad ni C kay B, hindi natin i-record yun sa books of the partnership. Ganun din sa formation, di ba? Ganun din dito sa dissolution. Pero hindi ibig sabihin nun na totally walang journal entry sa books of partnership. Merong entry yan. Since si C, bibili niya si B, mawawala na si B sa books of partnership. Debit B capital, credit C capital. For example, yung balance ni B is 100,000. 100,000. Right? Pero kahit magkano yung binayad ni C kay B, hindi mag-reflect yung cash sa books. For example, ang binayad ni C, 200,000. Ganito pa rin yung entry mo. Right? Let's say binayad ni C 50,000 lang, same entry pa rin yan. Okay? Hindi na mag-matter from the point of view of the partnership kung how much yung binayad ni C kay partner B. Got it? And from this entry class, as you notice, debit capital, credit capital, ibig sabihin, kapag purchase of interest, no change in the partnership capital. Walang increase, walang decrease kasi both debit and credit, both capital yan. Okay? Ayan. Pag sinabi naman class, investment in partnership. Okay? So let's say C invests cash into the partnership. Ayan. So obviously, meron journal entry because naka-receive ng cash yung partnership. So entry natin dyan, debit cash, credit C capital. For example, ang invest ni C is 150,000. Ayan naman. Ganyan naman siya. Alright? So as you notice class, you're debiting an asset, you're crediting capital account. So kapag investment in partnership, tataas yung capital, okay, tataas din yung total asset of the partnership. As opposed to this one, no change in capital. Alright? Now, under investment in partnership, meron kang 3 possible scenarios. Okay? Ito yung possible scenarios yan. Number 1, yung ininvest ni partner C, ang tawag natin doon is contributed capital. So, lagay dito, contributed capital. Ito rin yung invested capital, yung ibang term. Okay? Alright? If it's equal dun sa agreed capital, or ang ibang tawag natin dyan is credited capital, pag equal sila, so for example, class, in-invest ni C is 150,000 cash. Ang binigay sa kanyang capital is also 150,000. Therefore, wala tayong bonus. Bonus is 0. Alright? Let's call this, di ba, contributed capital. Let's call this CC. CC na lang, contributed capital. If the contributed capital naman, class, is more than the agreed capital, AC na lang gamitin natin. So yung contributed, iyan yung in-invest. Tama? Yung agreed naman, yun yung pagkasunduan ng partners. So, pag yung in-invest ni C, mas malaki kaysa sa binigay sa kanya. Therefore, yung bonus is to the old partners. Does that make sense? Okay? For example, yung binigay ni C is 150,000. Okay? And then, binigay na sa kanya is 100,000. Yung difference sa 50,000, bonus yun kay A and B. Tama lang? On the other hand, if the contributed capital is less than the agreed capital, for example, 150, and then, let's say this is 200,000, yung difference na yan, na 50,000, will be a bonus to partner C, the new partner. Alright? So, yung first scenario natin is 150, ang binigay sa kanya is also 150. Got it? So, applicable lang to class. Yung bonus na to, well, we call this bonus method dito sa investment in partnership. Pag purchase of interest, walang bonus method. Got it? Okay. So, apply muna natin yan dito sa exercise natin. Let's go to problem number 11. Okay. Let's go to problem number 11. We have 5 scenarios for this problem. So, ito na yung kailangan mo lang tandaan sa admission of a new partner. Okay. Z joins the partnership of X and Y. So, may existing partnerships, X and Y, papasok si Z. Ang tawag natin doon, admission, which is a form of dissolution. The partnership statement of financial position before Z's admission is as follows. So, meron kang assets, you have liabilities, and you have capital. Okay. 2 items that you have to remember, class, kapag merong dissolution. Okay. So, remember this, very important. Dito ko lalagay, para hindi nyo makalimutan. Right? Okay. So, remember. Whenever there is a dissolution, okay, lagi mong i-update yung capital balances. Update the capital balances of the partners. So, sa illustration natin kanina, before mo i-admit si C, update mo muna yung capital balances of partners A and B. Yun muna yung lagi mong gagawin. Sir, paano in-update yan? Well, kapag merong net income na given sa problem, allocate mo muna. Okay? Allocate net income or net loss to the partners. Alright? Or, i-revalue mo muna yung assets and liabilities. Okay? Ulitin ko, before ka mag-admit, before may mag-withdraw or mag-retire na partner, update mo muna yung capital balances. Ano yung makaka-affect ng capital balances? Net income. Pag may given na net income, allocate mo muna. Alright? And, pag iba yung fair market value of assets and liabilities, i-revalue mo muna. Okay? So, isa sa pag-dissolution class, para lang din information yan. Kailangan i-update mo yung capital balances. Sir, bakit ganun? So, class, isipin mo to. Let's say, si AB, nag-ooperate na sila for 10 years. So, on the 10th year, doon in-admit si C. Okay? Now, yung statement of financial position of AB, most of the items doon naka-carry yung value, which is value 10 years ago pa. So, for example, yung land, binili 10 years ago, 1 million. Ngayon, 1 million pa rin yan after 10 years. Lugi si C. Kasi hindi nare-reflect yung true value or yung current value of the partnership. So, para maging fair and equitable sa new partner and sa withdrawing partner, lagi mong tatandaan to. Update mo na yung capital balances before you do this. Okay? Before, yun ito yung first step mo. Update the capital balances. Okay. Let's go to the given. The following adjustments are determined. Ito yung sinasabi ko. The recoverable amount of the AR is 120,000. So currently, 140 siya. Nakita nyo sa given? 140. And then 120 na lang. So lagay mo dyan, minus 20,000. Okay? So sa AR, minus 20,000. Alright? So minus na lang. Minus 20,000. Okay. And since asset yan, minus sa capital. Inventory, 160 na lang. From 200 sa given, yung book value, naging 160. So sa inventory, minus 40,000 yan. Right? Next, equipment, fair value na is 450. From 500, naging 450. So ibig sabihin, minus 50,000. Tama? Siyempre, pag nag-increase naman, plus naman yun. Unrecorded liabilities, 20,000. So unrecorded, dagdagan natin yung liabilities, it means we have to reduce the capital. Tama? So liabs, ang effect sa capital is inverse. Ayan, yun yung adjustments natin. 20 plus 40 plus 50 plus 20, you have 130,000. Total adjustments natin, 130,000. Sabi ko kanina, update mo muna yung capital balances. So yung given sa atin sa problem is partner X, okay, and then partner Y. Yung unadjusted capital balances nila, how much? 515, tingin ka dun sa balance sheet for partner X, for partner Y, 275,000. Lagyan natin yung P&L ratio na dito, 60% and 40%. Alright, so adjustments, 130, adjust natin yan, 130 times 60%. 130 times 0.6, 78,000, negative. 130,000 times 0.4, you have 52,000, negative 52,000. Okay, so let's compute the adjusted balances of the partners. 515 minus 78,000, you get 437,000. And then for partner Y, 275,000 minus 52,000, you have 223,000. Ito muna yung first step. Okay, so minark to market muna natin, which is ito, revalue assets and liabilities. So kapag may net income na given sa problem, allocate mo din sa kanila. Right? Since wala naman, okay na yan. Yung requirements sa ating class, compute for the capital balances and P&L ratios of the partners. Alright, so pwede natin admit si partner Z. Okay, scenario number 1. Z acquires half of Y's capital interest for 800,000. Yung scenario number 1 is purchase of interest. Okay? So, as you notice here, ang binayad ni Z kay Y is 800,000. Yung 800,000 na yun, irrelevant siya from the point of view of the partnership. Ang relevant lang is meron tayong transfer of capital from one partner to another. So, ibig sabihin sa mangyayari dyan, kung i-journalize mo yan, debit Y capital, credit Z capital, how much? 50% ang half ang binila, di ba? Ano yung half ng 223,000? 223,000 times 0.5, 111,500. 111,500. Ito lang yung journal entry sa books of the partnership. Yung 800,000 hindi siya papasok sa partnership because this is a form of purchase of interest. Got it? So kahit how much yung amount na yan, kahit 10,000 lang yan, hindi papasok sa partnership yan. Meron lang tayong transfer of capital. Now, pwede natin sagutin yan. How much daw yung capital balances of the partners and yung P&L ratio nila? So lagay natin dito, partners X, Y, and Z. Si partner X, wala nangyari sa kanya. So it's still 437,000. For partner X, it's 437,000. For partner Y, 223, half na lang. So naging 11500 na lang si partner Y. As well as partner Z. Ayan, yun yung capital balances nila. Now, how much yung P&L ratio nila? Before admitting Z, si X 60%, si Y 40%. Now, wala naman nangyari kay X, so it means 60% pa rin siya. Tama lang? Alright. Si Z, binili yung kalahati ni Y, so it means yung 40% maghahati yung dalawa na yan. Okay, yung sagot natin. Ito yung final answer. Okay? Capital balances of X, Y, and Z, and their P&L ratios. Got it? Let's go to scenario number 2. Z purchases 20% of X and Y's capital interest for 800. Since purchase of interest yan, ignore mo na yung 800,000 na yan. Journalize natin. Debit X capital, debit Y capital, 20%. Tama? Ano yung 20% ng 437,000? 87,400. 87,400. What is 20% of 223,000? 223,000 times 0.2, 44,600. And then, credit Z capital, add natin yan. 87,400 plus 44,600. I got here 132,000. This is journal entry. Alright? Now, pinapakita ko lang yung journal entry. So, ang tanong naman sa atin, capital balances and P&L ratio. So, ang gagawin ko dyan, class, yung sagot dito, partners X, Y, and Z. So, si partner X, originally may 437 siya. Nag-minus tayo ng 87,400. So, 437 minus 87,400, 349,600 for partner X. Alright? Si partner Y naman, 223,000 minus 44,600, this one, you have 178,400. And then, si partner Z, nakuha niya yung 20%, which is 132,000. Right? Now, ang tanong dito, class, ano na yung P&L ratio nila? Originally, 60-40 yan. Pero si Z, binili niya yung 20% ng dalawa na yan. Tama? Ibig sabihin, class, si X is now, instead of 60%, 60% times 80%. Sir, bakit 80? Kasi yung 20% is Z na. Okay? Ibig sabihin, maghahati si X, Y sa 80%. Tama? So, 60% times 80%, that is 48%. Okay? 40% times 80%, that is 32%. Okay? Ayan. 48 plus 32 is 80, plus 20 is 100%. Ayan, yun yung final answers natin. So, ulitin ko, yung 48% nakuha siya, class, by multiplying 60% and 80%. 80% na lang kasi yung 20 kay Z na siya. Yung Y naman, 40% times 80%. Alright. Number 3. Z wants to invest 20% in the net assets and profits of the partnership. If no bonus is allowed, how much should Z invest and what would be the new P&L ratio? So, yung numbers 1 and 2, purchase of interest yan. Yung number 3 is an investment in partnership. Now, ang tinatanong sa 3 is, how much daw yung kailangan i-invest ni partner Z for a 20% interest? Yun yung tanong. Okay. So, paano gagawin mo dyan, sir? So, pag in-add natin to, okay? Tama? So, si X and Y, yung capital before pumasok si Z, alright? Add natin, 437 plus 223, total capital is 660, okay? Before pumasok si Z, itong dalawa, in-add ko. Now, ang gagawin ko dito, ganito. Si X and Y, meron silang capital na 660,000. Now, si Z, gusto niyang pumasok for a 20% interest. Kailangan nating malaman how much yung i-invest ni Z for 20% interest. So, ang gagawin ko dyan, if 20% si Z, ibig sabihin, class, 80% si XY. Tama lang? So, ang gagawin ko dyan, kung 80% si X and Y, i-divide ko to by 80%. Right? 660,000 divided by 0.8, I will get 825,000. So, pag dinivide mo sa 80 yan, green o gross up mo, tama? Makukuha mo yung 100%, which is actually the total capital of the partnership. Yung 100% na yan, 20% kailangan i-invest ni partner Z. 825,000 times 0.2, 165,000. This is the answer. So, Partner Z needs to invest 165,000 to get 20% interest in the partnership. Yung entry dyan, debit cash, okay? Debit cash, credit, Z capital, 165,000. Ayun yung entry. Since investment siya sa partnership, tataas yung capital of the partnership, okay? Tataas yung asset kasi nandagdagan yung cash. Alright? Now, tingnan natin class. Pero for first two scenarios, since puro capital yung entry natin, walang increasing capital. Tama? Dito meron. Sa scenario number 3. Compute natin yung capital balances sila. X, Y, and Z. Well, si X meron siyang 437,000. Right? Si Z meron siyang 223. Si Y may 223. Si Z naman meron siyang 165,000. So, as you notice, hindi nag-iba yung balances si partners X and Y. Kasi class, itong number 3 na actually ito siya. Yung in-invest niya, ito yung scenario 1 natin dito. 1, 2, 3. Actually, walang bonus na nangyari niya sa scenario 3 because yung in-invest ni Z, yun din yung credit sa kanya. Right? So, ano yung P&L ratio nila? So, ganun din. Same as number 2. Because si Z, meron na siyang 20%, maghahati si X and Y dun sa 80%. 60% times 80% is 48%. 40% times 80% is 32%. These are your final answers. Alright? So far, so good? Okay pa kayo dyan? Sige. So, let's proceed to scenario number 4. Sige. Erase ko na lang to class ha. Gusto ko i-retain kasi ito eh. So, erase ko to. Ayan, erase natin yan. And this one. Let's go to scenario number 4. Okay. Scenario number 4, Z invests 100,000 for a 20% interest in the net assets and profits of the partnership. Pag sabi mo net assets, assets minus liabilities, yun din yung capital. Right? Yun na ibig sabihin natin. Now, so ang mangyayari dyan class, si X and Y, yung capital nila is 660. Tama? And then, papasok si Z. Ang i-invest daw niya is 100,000. 660 plus 100, yung total capital of the partnership is 760,000. Right? And then, ang gusto ni Y, ang gusto ni Z is 20%. Okay? 760,000 times 20%, 152,000. Okay. So, yung in-invest ni Z, ang tawag dyan is the contributed capital. Ang tawag natin sa kanya, CC. Lagay ko dito. Ito yung CC. Alright? Now, yung credit sa kanya is 152. Ito yung agreed capital. Itong AC. Let's call it AC. So, in this case, class, mas mataas yung, mas maliit yung i-contribute niya kaysa sa binigay sa kanya. So, ibig sabihin, mas nag-benefit si partner Z. Tama? Kasi 100 lang yung binigay niya, binigay sa kanya is 152,000. Alright? So, if compute mo yung difference yan, ito yung CC. Alright? Difference is 52,000. Kaninong bonus yung 52,000 class? To the old partners or to the new partner? To the new partner because bonus yan kay partner Z. Okay? So, bonus to the new partner. Alright? Now, if i-journalize natin yan, erase ko na to. If i-journalize natin yung class, ganito lang siya. So, debit cash, kinontribute niya is 100,000. Credit Z capital, 152,000. Difference yan is 52,000. Alright? 52,000, paano mo siya i-allocate dun sa old partners? Gagamitin mo yung old P&L ratio nila. Old hindi new. Old P&L ratio. Times 60%. Debit X capital, 31,200. And then debit Y capital, 52,000 times 0.4, 20,800. Ito yung entry mo. Since bonus to new partner yan, mababawasan yung capital balances of the old partners. Got it? Okay. Now, masagutan natin yung problem. So, let's compute further capital balances. Erase ko na rin ito class para may space tayo. Right? So, X, Y, and Z. Partner X, Y, and Z. So, si partner X meron siyang 437,000. Nag-debit tayo ng 31,200. 437 minus 31,200. Partner X has now 405,800. Okay, si partner Y, 223,000 minus 20,800, 202,200. Alright? And then si partner Z, meron siyang 152,000. Since si partner Z, meron siyang 20% interest or P&L ratio, maghahati si X and Y sa 80%. So X has now 48% and 32% for Y. Final answers for scenario number 4. Last scenario, okay? So scenario number 4, basically, it's a bonus to new partner. Scenario number 5, tignan natin. Z invests 180,000. So X and Y, meron sila so far, meron silang 660. Pumasok si Z for 180,000 investment. Total capital of the partnership is 660 plus 180, 840,000. Right? Now, gusto ni Z, 20% interest times 0.2, 168,000. Right? Yung contributed capital ni Z is 180. Binigay sa kanya is 168, yung agreed capital sa kanya. Right? So, it means yung difference niyan is 12,000. Right? So, 12,000. Now, kaninong bonus yung 12,000 na yung class? To the new partner or to the old partners? To the old partners. Bakit, sir? Kasi si Z, ang kinontribute niya is 180. Pero binigay lang sa kanya is 168. Ibig sabihin, nag-benefit yung old partners ng 12,000. Okay? Bonus to old. So if we journalize that, debit cash, 180,000, credit Z capital, okay? Credit Z capital, 168,000, credit X capital, credit Y capital, how much in difference? 12,000 times yung old P&L ratio times 0.6, 7,200. And then 12,000 times 0.4, you have 4,800. Ayan. Now, ito yung journal entry. Let's take a look at their capital balances. X, Y, and Z. Si X, meron siyang 437. Add natin yung 72 plus 72. You get 444,200. Si Y naman, 223,000 plus 48, 227,800. And then, si Z naman, ito siya. Yung binigay sa kanya is 168,000. Si Z, meron siyang 20% interest. Therefore, maghahati si X and Y sa 80. 48% P&L for X, 32% P&L for Y. Final answers for scenario 5. Yan. So, yan lang class yung pwede mong ma-encounter kapag dating for admission of a new partner. Alright? So, easy. Easy lang. Alright, so, talagang tinagalan ko yung discussion niya kasi syempre, first problem natin yan for dissolution. Mas mabilis yung gawin natin for problem number 12. Okay, so let's go to problem 12. Okay lang class, erase ko na to. Actually, ito na lang erase ko. Okay, so erase ko to. Let's read problem number 12. A and B have capital balances of 200 and 220. Okay? So pag binigyan ka ng capital balances na ganyan, syempre ang assumption mo, unadjusted yan. Right? And ang goal natin, first is to adjust this given capital balances. Respectively before admission of C. Okay? So meron si A and B, existing partners. Si C naman, new partner siya. Right? Sige. And then, their profit and loss agreement was 35.65. C was to be admitted for 40% interest in the partnership and 20% P&L. Plus, gusto ko lang i-clarify yung difference ng 40% interest and 20% in P&L. Magkaiba class yung dalawa na to. Meron tayong tinatawag na capital ratio and P&L ratio. Dito sa problem, si C, magkakaroon siya ng 40% capital ratio. Meron siyang 20% P&L ratio. Magkaiba yan. Sir, bakit? Yung P&L ratio class, ginagamit mo to pag nag-allocate ka. Okay? So whenever you allocate net income or net loss, whenever you allocate bonuses, etc., P&L ratio lagi ginagamit mo dyan. Alright? Sir, kailan ginagamit yung capital ratio na yan? Yung capital ratio class, ginagamit lang yan to know kung how much yung magiging agreed capital nila. Okay? Ito, kung how much yung magiging credited capital or agreed capital. So magkaiba yung dalawa na yan. Okay? Siguro, hindi mo na napapansin because sa mga problems na na-encounter mo, usually magkamukha yung percentage yan. Pero magkaiba yan. So, pero minsan mo lang ginagamit yung capital ratio. Okay? So, mapapansin mo lahat halos P&L ratio ginagamit. Pero again, pag nag-allocate ka ng income, P&L ratio, allocate ka ng bonuses using bonus method, P&L ratio. Ang capital ratio is just the ratio of one capital let's say dito, si partners A, B, C. For example, guys, ganito yung capital nila. Si A, 10,000. Si B, 20,000 yung capital. Okay? Si C naman, 70,000. So, yung capital ratio ni A, B, and C, 10%, 20%, and 70%. Alright? Kasi total niya is 100,000. So, ang ibig sabihin na ng capital ratio class, yun lang yung ratio ng capital over total capital. Ganoon lang ibig sabihin yan. Pero, hindi necessarily na kung ano yung capital ratio, yun yung P&L ratio. Independence ng dalawa. Okay, ingat na lang doon, ha? Okay, so, kinarify ko lang kasi baka akala mo na yung capital ratio and P&L ratio, magkamukha sila. No, hindi sila related actually. Alright? Sige, so let's... So dito, papasok si C, ang gusto niya 40% interest in the partnership and 20% P&L. By contributing a used machine with a cost of 205 and an appraised value of what? Machinery yung kinontribute instead of cash. So sabi ko class, yung concept ng formation is the same as dissolution. Okay? So in that case, ano yung papansinin mo dito? Is it the cost or the appraised value? The appraised value or the fair market value. Ignore mo yung cost na yan kasi pwedeng yung machine na yan 10 years ago na binili ni C. Okay? So irrelevant siya for admission purposes, okay? So, for fair value gagamitin natin. And serial mo yung 180,000. After admission of C, A and B agreed to share profits and losses equally. So, dati, 35-65 sila. Nung inadmit si C, half equal sila, right? At the end of the year, the new partnership generated income of 130. So, end of the year yan. Okay, sabihin natin. How much is the capital balance of B after admission of C? So, assume natin na January 1 inadmit si C, okay? Tingnan natin. How much is the capital balance of B after admission of C? So, first na gagawin mo dyan, class, is this is for number 12. Tingnan muna natin yung capital balances of A and B. So si A meron siyang 200,000, tama? Si B meron siyang 220,000. Okay? Now, wala naman sinabi dito class na i-revalue yung wala naman sinabing difference ng fair market value and book value sa assets and liabilities of the partnership. Okay? Partnership, hindi relevant sa atin yung cost ng machinery ni C. Kasi yun eh. Okay? Ang nire-value dito is assets and liabilities of the partnership. Right? Now, pumasok si C. Ang in-invest niya, 180,000. Right? So, tingnan natin. 200,000 plus 220 plus 180, 600,000 in total. Right? 600,000. Now, ang gusto ni C is 40%. Again, hindi 20% ha? 40%. Times 40%. Ilan yan? Times 0.4, 240,000. 240,000, ito yung agreed capital. Yung contributed capital is 180,000. Tama? So, difference of 60, bonus to ano to? Bonus to C kasi kinontribute lang niya 180, binigay sa kanya 240. Bonus to new partner or to partner C. Right? So, ibig sabihin, yung 60,000 na yung class, babawas natin yung sa capital ni A and B. Huwag natin i-journalize kasi nag-journal entry na tayo sa previous problem. So, yung 60,000, ang gagamitin mo dyan is the old P&L ratio. According to the problem, it's 35-65. 60,000 times 35%, mag-minus 21,000 ka kay partner A. Alright? And then, 60,000 times 65%, you deduct 39,000 from partner B. 200,000 minus 21,000, you have 179,000. 220,000 minus 39,000, this is 181,000. Ang tanong sa atin, capital balance of B, letter C yung sagot natin, 181,000. Capital balance of A is 179. Capital balance of B is 181. Capital balance of C is 240,000. Let's go to question number 2. How much is the capital balance of A at the end of the year? Sir, no difference on? Di ba 179,000 yan? Hindi. Because may net income na binigay sa problem. So again, let's assume na yung admission nangyari January 1. So yung 130,000 na-generate siya for the 3 partners. So tingnan natin class. Since capital balance yan, pwede tayong mag-T account. Beginning balance of A is 200,000. Tama? And then, i-minus natin yung 21,000 na yan. Bonus to partner C yan. Okay, so yung net income na yan, class, na 130,000, paano natin i-allocate to the 3 partners yan? A, B, and C. Okay, so sabi dyan, class, second to the last sentence, after admission of C, A and B agreed to share P&L equally. Okay, ilang percent yung P&L ratio of partner C? 20%. Nakita mo yung 20%? Nakita mo yan? So as you notice, ang ginamit natin dito, yung capital ratio. Ayan. Capital ratio. Pero ang ginamit mo sa net income allocation is the P&L ratio. Okay, iba yung dalawa na yun, as I discussed earlier. Now, sabi dyan, after admission of C, A and B agreed to share profits and losses equally. So, ibig sabihin, class, kung may 20% si C, merong 80% total sa A and B. Ano yung equal nun? 40-40 sila. Does that make sense? Okay. So, ibig sabihin, class, yung income kay A, 130,000 times 40%, 52,000. So, 52,000 allocated to A, 52,000 for B, and then, ano ba yung kalahati ng 52,000? 26,000. So, lagay natin dito, kay A, 52,000. Therefore, ending balance of A, 200 plus 52 minus 21,000. Answer, 231,000 for A. Letter A yung sagot natin for question number 2. Okay? Question number 3. Okay, so ito, mapapaisip pa dito class. Question number 3. Assuming there is an implied undervaluation or overvaluation of an asset, how much is the undervaluation or overvaluation of the asset? Ba, walang amount na sinabi. Sinabi lang na assuming there's an implied undervaluation or overvaluation of an asset. Okay. So sabi ko kanina class, kapag mag-a-admit ka, you have to first revalue assets and liabilities. Tama lang? Okay. So ganito ibig sabihin ng question 3. Tingnan mo ito class ha. Tama ba sa question number 3, nag-invest si C ng 180,000? Tama? Which is the fair market value of the machinery. Ganito gagawin ko dyan. Currently, okay, yung total capital of the partnership is 600, tama? 200 plus 220 plus 180, that's 600,000. Now, ang sinasabi sa problem, possible na may under-overvaluation dyan sa 600,000. Sir, paano natin malalaman? Ganito yan. So, si C contributed 180,000. Tama? And, pag nag-contribute si C, syempre, dapat properly valued mo na yung partnership. Tama? Properly valued. Ibig sabihin, na-allocate mo na yung net income, na-revalue mo na yung assets and liabilities. Now, if si C contributed 180,000 for a 20% interest. Tama? So, ibig sabihin, guys, pag dinivide mo yan, divide by 0.2, you will get 900,000. Ulit, 180,000, ilan ba? 40% pala. P&L pala yung 20%. So, 180,000 divided by 0.4, 450,000 to. Okay? Since 180 represents 40%, pag dinivide mo siya, makukuha mo yung 100%. Right? Or the total capital of the partnership. If properly valued yung partnership. Okay? Properly valued. Alright? Now, yung existing capital is 600,000 or the unadjusted capital. Lagay natin unadjusted capital. 600,000. Okay? So, if ikaw si C, syempre, before ka mag-invest, dapat yung basis ng investment mo is the true value of the partnership. Tama? Hindi yung 600 yung basis mo. It should be the 450,000. So, ibig sabihin, class, yung 600,000 na yan, since mas mataas siya sa 450, dapat ito yung masusunod eh. Tama? Ibig sabihin, overstated yung capital balances. It means there's an overvaluation of assets. 150,000, answer natin dyan, overvaluation. Letter B. Boy. Nakuha niyo ba yan, class? Ulitin ko. Si C, nag-invest siya ng 180,000, representing 40% interest or capital in the partnership. So, pag dinivide mo siya, makukuha mo yung 100%. Tama? Which is the total capital of the partnership if properly valued siya. Alright? Or after adjustments, after revaluation. Tama? Pwede mong isipin na yung 450 is after revaluation. So, ito yung after revaluation, ito yung before revaluation. Before revaluation, 600. Since kailangan mo siyang ibaba to 150, ibig sabihin, overvalued yung partnership. Ingat ka doon ha, baka masagot mo is undervalued. Hindi, overvalued siya. Kasi dapat ang masunod is 450. From 600 to 450, there's a decrease, kailangan mo ibaba. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, overvalued yung partnership. Letter B yung sagot. Boy yung sagot natin for number 3 ha. Okay. 150,000 overvalued. Number 4, assuming there's an implied under overvaluation, how much is the capital balance of B at the end of the year? Alright. So, alam na natin na ito yung overvaluation, 150,000. So, ang gagawin ko dyan is, pwede ako mag-T account. Okay? Capital balance yung tanong. So, si B, yung beginning capital niya is 220,000. Tama? And then, don't forget na meron tayong, okay, so let's see, meron si B, meron siya beginning na 220,000, tama? And then, before natin i-admit si C, sabi ko kanina, kailangan i-adjust mo muna yung assets and liabilities. Since overvalued tayo ng 150, allocate mo muna yan to partners A and B. 150,000 times, ano yung P&L ratio nila? Yung old P&L ratio nila, 35-65, tama? Times 35%, 52.5 yung kay A, kailangan ibaba mo yung capital niyan, de-debit mo. Okay? 150,000 times 65%, 97.5 naman kay partner B. Okay? Silang dalawa lang. Because sabi ko kanina, mag-revalue ka muna before accepting C. So therefore, si C dapat wala siyang share sa over-under valuation. Tama? Now, since si B yung tanong, 97.5, dito siya sa debit. Alright? And don't forget class na si B, naka-receive din siya ng income allocation for the year amounting to 52,000. Tama? Okay. So 220 plus 52 minus 97,500, answer natin dito is 174,500. Final answer is letter D or dog, 174,500. So class, if gusto mo makita yung entry, ganito lang yan. Debit A capital, 52,500. Debit B capital, 97,500. Credit asset, kung ano man yung asset na yan, PPE or whatever. How much? 150,000. Ayan, ito yung entry natin. Kaya beginning balance of B, 220. Okay? Plus natin yung income allocated to B, 52,000, and then i-minus natin yung overvaluation. Kapag naman opposite, undervaluation, ibahin mo lang lahat yan. Tataas naman yung capital balances of A and B. Ayan. So letter C, letter A, letter boy, letter dog. Answers for number 12. Alright? Sige. Okay, so, tignan natin. Let's go to number 13. Okay, so gawin na rin natin class yung number 13. For number 13, it's a withdrawal naman of partner. Okay, so before we take our break, discuss muna natin yan para dire-diretso tayo later. Okay? So madali lang naman, di ba? So as long as follow mo lang yung rules natin, pag purchase of interest, no change in capital of the partnership. Kapag investment sa partnership, titignan mo lang, compare mo lang, contributed capital versus agreed capital. So, ang nangyari lang dito sa ating class, yung sa problem number 12 na yan, determine natin kung may over or under valuation. So hopefully, nagets mo kung bakit nakuha natin is over valuation. Alright? So, dahil na tayo sa admission, okay? Doon naman tayo sa next form of dissolution, which is withdrawal or retirement of a partner. Okay? So kung kanina, nadagdagan yung partner, in this case naman, mababawasan naman. Kaya sabi dyan, change in interest, either addition, dito tayo, reduction in the number of partners. Now, pag may withdrawal or retirement, dalawang scenarios lang pwede dyan. Pwedeng purchase of interest, okay? Or settlement by partnership. Opposite lang yan nung kanina, okay? So kanina class, admission, nagbayad yung new partner, okay? For this one naman, may ganun din, purchase of interest din. Pag sayang purchase of interest, it's a personal or private transaction outside of the partnership siya. Got it? So ganun din sa admission, same lang. Ito naman, settlement by partnership. Kung kanina, meron tayong investment in partnership. Dito naman, si partnership yung magbabayad sa magre-retire. So let's have an illustration. May tatlo tayong partners, ABC. Okay? ABC partnership. And then, aalis si C. Okay? C is retiring. And B, buys the interest of C. Alis si C, buys the interest of C. Entry natin dyan is meron lang tayong transfer of capital. Debit C capital, since alis siya. Si B yung bumili, credit B capital. Let's say 100,000 yung balance ni C. Ayan. So regardless of the amount na binayad ni B kay C, ito yung entry natin. Alright? Again, for purchase of interest, no increase or no change in the capital, the total capital. Pag sinabi namang settlement by partnership, yung partnership yung nagbayad sa retiring partner. Aalis si C, tama? Debit C capital, credit cash. Ayan. 100,000. So in this case, bababa yung capital mo, dahil aalis si C, bababa naman yung asset mo. Kasi nagbayad ka ng cash. So kanina sa admission, tataas yung capital, tataas yung asset. Opposite naman to. Alright? So kung kanina, meron tayong contributed capital. If it's equal to agreed capital, walang bonus. Or if contributed capital is more than the agreed capital, may mga rules tayo na ganun. Same rules lang din dito sa settlement by partnership. Alright? Sige. Now, sagutan na natin class yung number 13. Ayan. Before we take our break, mabilis lang naman yung number 13 kasi yung concept ng withdrawal class or retirement of partner. Ganun-ganun lang din yung i-apply mo na rules. Inuulit yung mga rules natin. First, update the capital balances of the partners. Second, i-revalue mo muna yung assets and liabilities or allocate mo yung income kung meron, net income or loss. And then, revalue assets and liabilities before natin i-settle yung partner. Alright? The capital balances of the partners of ABC partnership in July 1 before any necessary adjustments. So, meron tayong partner A, 150, partner B and partner C, 250 and 100. The partnership reported profit of 900 for the 6 months ended June 30. Yung sinasabi ko, update mo muna yung capital balances of the partners. So, partners A, B, and C. So, si A, meron siyang 150,000. Si B naman, 250,000. And then si C, 100,000. Alright? So, total capital nila is 500,000. Now, allocate muna natin yung profit na 900,000. So, how much yung P&L ratio nila? 20% for A, alright? 30% for B, and then 50% for C. 900,000 times 20%, that's 180,000. Okay? 900,000 times 30%, that's 270. 900,000 times 50%, that's 450,000. So, take note class, i-update mo rin kahit yung retiring partner, si C. I-update mo rin siya, okay? Hindi lang yung natirang partner. 150 plus 180, this is 330,000. These are their adjusted capital balances. Tama? 250 plus 270, this is 520. 100 plus 450, that's 550,000. So if we add, natin, 330 plus 520 plus 550, 1.4 million. Yung total capital, 1.4 million, which is 500 plus yung inallocate natin na 900,000. That's 1.4 million. Okay. Compute for the partners' adjusted capital balances under each of the following scenarios. Scenario 1. On July 1, C withdrew from the partnership when he was bought out by his co-partners for 620,000 cash. The net assets of the firm as of this date approximate their fair values. Ito siya, purchase of interest. Alright, so ano yung entry natin dyan? Debit C capital. Ito na, 550 na. Okay, 550,000. Credit A capital, credit B capital. Walang credit cash ha, because purchase of interest yan. How much yan, sir? Yung 550, paghahatian ni A and B. Take note class, ang matitira na sa kanila is 20% and 30%. Alright? Wala na to. So, ibig sabihin, 50,000 times 2 over 5, yun yung para kay A. Times 2 over 5, 220,000. Alright? 550,000 times 3 over 5, you have 330,000. O, ganun siya. So, pre-rate natin using your natitira na P&L ratio. Got it? Now, actually, yan na. So, let's compute for the adjusted capital balances of the partners, A, B, and C. So, si A, 150 plus 220, that is, natin. Tama ba? So, 330 plus 120, 330 plus 220. Okay, si partner A, meron siyang 550,000. Alright? Si partner B naman, 520 plus 330, 850,000. Obviously, alis na si C, 0 na yan. Compute ka natin class yung total capital, 850 plus 550, 1.4 million, which is still equal to the original capital. Okay? Because kapag purchase of interest, wala tayong change in capital. It's just a transfer of capital from the retiring partner to the remaining partners. Got it? Let's go to number 2. C retired. The partnership settled C's interest for 620,000 cash. Si partnership yung nagbayad sa kanya. Okay? Debit C capital, 550,000. Credit cash, 620,000. Alright? So, mas malaki yung binayad ni partnership than yung capital ni C. Ibig sabihin, class, ang tawag natin dito is bonus to retiring partner. Tama? Kasi ang dapat ibigay kay C is only 550. Binigay sa kanya 620. So, in that case, bababa yung capital balances of A and B. Ano yung difference nila? 70,000. 70,000 times 2 over 5. Kay partner A, 28,000 debit. Okay? 70,000 times 3 over 5. Kay partner B naman, it's 42,000 Ayan. Let's compute their capital balances, A, B, and C. So si A, 330 minus 28,000. That's 302. Tama? 302,000 for partner A. For partner B, 520 minus 42. You have 478,000. So since si C, alis na siya, 0 na yan. Right? 302 plus 478. Total capital of the partnership is 780,000. Bumaba naman. Tama? Bumaba from 1.4 naging 780. Plus ano yung difference na yan? 1.4 million minus 780, yung difference nila is 620,000. And 620,000 is exactly the amount paid to the retiring partner. So yung decrease in your capital, okay, is equal to the cash payment to the retiring partner. Okay, yun yung shortcut doon. Pag sabing how much yung capital of the partnership, 1.4 million, yung original, minus yung binayad na 620, 780,000 yan. Tama? Let's go to scenario number 3. C retired on July 1 and received cash of 500 and land with a carrying amount of 100 and fair value of 300 from the partnership as settlement for his interest. Umalis si C, ang binayad sa kanya is a combination of cash and land. Alright? So, ganun siya. Kaya lang may mention dito, class, yung carrying amount is 100 while the fair value is 300. Now, una mong gagawin dyan, update the capital balances. Kasi sabi ko kanina, before ka mag-admit, before mag-withdraw, kailangan adjustin yung capital balances. Okay? And one of which is kailangan i-revalue mo yung assets and liabilities. In this case, you have to revalue the land. Right? Now, lagyan natin dito. A, B. Kasama ba si C sa revaluation? Yes. Okay? Laging kasama si retiring partner. 330, 520, and 550. Okay? So, 330, 520, and 550. Okay. So, revalue muna tayo. Tama ba? Increase na 200,000 yan. Tama? 200,000 times 20%, that is 40,000. 200,000 times 30%, that's 60,000. 200,000 times 50%, that's 100,000. Let's compute their capital balances. 330 plus 40, 370. 520 plus 60, that's 580. And then 550 plus 100, that's 650,000. Right? So, yan muna ginawa natin. And then, bayaran na natin si partner C. Dito natin gawing class. Partner C. So, bayaran natin si partner C. Debit C capital. 650,000. Credit cash. How much yung cash na binayad class? 500,000. Tama. Credit land. How much yung land na i-credit mo? Is it 100 or 300? 300 na kasi na-update mo na yung capital balance sa. Actually, may entry ka dito. Debit land, 200,000. Credit A capital, credit B capital, credit C capital. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, pag binigyan mo na si C ng land at fair market value na, 300,000. So, ang binigay mo kay C, total is 800. Tama? Pero yung capital niya is 150 or 650. Therefore, merong bonus to C, 150,000. Difference na. So, bawasan natin yung capital ni A and B. 150,000 times 2 over 5. Okay? So, si A, may debit siya na 60,000. Alright? So, ulitin ko, yung 150,000 na bonus to C is the difference between 800 and 650. Okay? So, 150,000 times 3 over 5. Kay partner B naman, it's 90,000. Alright? So, yun yung journal entry. Now, sagutan natin. How much yung capital balances of the partners? Okay, so si partner A, 370, yun yung basis mo, 370 minus 60, that is 310. Tama? Si partner B naman, 580 minus 90, you have 490. And then obviously, si partner C, nag-retire na siya, 0 na yan. 310 plus 490, 800,000. Okay? Yun yung total capital of the partnership. From 1.4 million, naging 800,000. Ano yung difference nila? Difference is 600,000. Tama? Ano yung 600,000 na yung class? Iyan yung cash na binayad na 1 million. Na 1 million ba yung cash? Oh, sorry. 500,000 plus the book value of the land. Book value na 100,000. So yung cash na binayad mo and the book value, okay, 100,000, that's 600,000, iyan yung decrease in your capital. 1.4 minus 600, that's 800,000. Okay? So, ayan. Ito yung sagot natin dyan. 310 and 490,000. Alright. So, that's how you do problem number 13. Easy. Okay. O, sige. Let's have a short break muna.